Welcome to this week's America with an Accent. For many immigrants who came here as refugees, Lutheran Family Services is the go-to place. Besides providing services, LFS also promotes the diversity of cultures immigrants bring to America. Here in Omaha, New American Arts Festival, a 6-year-old tradition, brings out the colors of all communities. From a painter to a food carver, all newcomers can participate and public enjoy the arts on August 2nd. If you are a refugee and an immigrant and an artist and would like to take part, you can submit your art by April 30th. Brittany Steigner, an art outreach specialist, tells us more about this year's New American Arts Festival.
So the New American Arts Festival started, this will be our 6th year, and it's been a partnership between Lutheran Family Services and Benson First Friday. What happened was we recognized that as refugees were being resettled into Omaha, they brought with them these incredible art forms that we didn't know about, and they didn't really have a way to show them, to exhibit them. And so we wanted a place and an opportunity to celebrate the art that was coming into Omaha that we wanted to be exposed to. And so the art festival began as just a showing of some of our refugee and immigrant artwork, performance art, visual art, all in Benson. And so we take over Benson First Friday in August. So it's the first Friday in August every year. And there's also the Benson Artists still, but we mostly exhibit refugee and immigrant artwork. We meet refugee and immigrant artists through case managers at Lutheran Family Services, or a friend of a friend of a friend, or through the school. We'll go to OPS and ask about student artists. And so we meet them that way, and then we start to work with them, see what kind of art form they do, and then, yeah, if they want to show their work in a gallery space, if they want to perform at our evening stage, or if they want to sell some artwork or artisanal goods, then we have them do that there on that first Friday.
And what has been the participation?
We have about 30 artists that we are working with currently. We're always looking to have more and new and different artists every year. And usually it changes and grows every year. So I think our first year we started off with like 5 or 7. And now we've gone up to about 30 working artists that we exhibit. Singers, musicians, painters, dancers, illustrators, photographers. We've had people who make furniture, leather bags. This year we have a food carver, a man he's a Karen man who learned the Thai technique of carving carrots and food for banquets and big celebrations, and so he's going to be carving food. We have Karen weavers on looms, henna artists. Yeah, so even if you don't think you have an art form, you probably do, because a lot of cultural art forms are passed down generationally, whether that's making clothing, scarves, handbags, and Omaha audience has never seen that before, and so they're very interested, and so we want to show that off. If you are an artist and you're interested in this program, please don't let anything hold you back. We can help pay for materials to get you started, help make prints of your paintings if you don't want to sell the originals. If you're nervous about selling your work and talking about your work, we can have someone with you who can help you through that process. So we really want to make sure you're supported. We don't want you to feel held back. If you don't think you're really an artist, that's not true. Everyone has that in them somewhere, so we'd love to get to know you. We'd love for people just to contact us. They can either go to our Facebook page, New American Arts Festival 2019, or the Benson First Friday website, which is bensonfirstfriday.com/NAAF, New American Art Festival. Or they can also call our Lutheran Family Services office and ask for me. We have applications online if they want to do a formal application, but I can just meet them and see their artwork. They can submit photos online if they want, or however we want to see them. We do then go through our artists and pick which artists will be in gallery spaces, and then the rest will be on the street. And so there is some sort of selection process, but almost every artist that wants to come will be able to participate.
So it doesn't matter if you are a Picasso
Yes.
class or just
Yes, young, old, new, advanced, we want to see what you have to offer. Performance artists, we do select. It's a little bit more of a selection because we only have a few slots available. So there's only about 5 to 7 acts that night. But we still would love to find ways for you, if you don't perform on that night, maybe throughout the year, ways for you to participate in some of our projects.
Is there a particular theme for each year, or?
No, just celebrating New Americans. So a big part of this is not only we want to give our artists the opportunity to show their work. It helps build some professional development because they get the opportunity to learn to sell work, to talk about their art form. But it's also a chance for advocacy for the rest of Omaha to see that this community brings so much more to our town. They bring new traditions. There's stories that we need to hear. There's art forms that we need to participate in and experience, and it will broaden our worldview and our perspective. And it also builds community. People start to see one another as just human and their newest neighbor. And so that's our job all the time. And that's what hopefully people will see as they come. People love it. They wait for it every year. We had about 700 to 1,000 participants last year come and just fully enjoy it. We closed down the street, and so people are walking through. They follow our artists year-round, too. Once they see an artist that they love, they go to another exhibit throughout the year that they are at, or they hire a performance artist to perform at another event. And so it's just become a favorite festival in the summer that a lot of Omaha community members want to attend. And they just have a great time. We have bands that get everyone up and dancing these traditional dances, and amazing food too that people just are waiting to experience. So yeah, if you're also a culinary artist, we'd love to have you. We have a rotating food truck throughout the summer at Benson First Friday that will highlight different refugee and New American culinary artists as well.
Most of the refugees, most of them have gone through some hardship in their lives. Is that reflected in their art?
I think mostly what we see reflected in their art is home. The past home, places that they remember, whether that's mountain landscapes or portraits of people's faces, or just holding on to a piece of their home. And I think that that's really important, because when they come to the United States, there's so much acclimation that they have to go through in order to try to assimilate. And I think holding on to some of those parts of who they were is necessary. And so I don't necessarily see places of trauma, but I definitely think as they're creating this art as well, it's a new purpose. It's a new enrichment to their lives, and it's something that they're able to, it's their passion and their project. And so instead of having to just constantly think about getting food on the table and working to survive, they're able to express themselves in another element in their world that's just for pleasure and leisure and beauty. And then we get to see it and enjoy it too. So.
And how about yourself? You are from Florida with a degree in dancing.
Yes.
Do you dance when you...
I do dance. I do, yeah. I currently dance here in Omaha.
All right. How about do you enjoy the folk music or the other...
I do. So I've gotten in the studio a couple of times with some Nepali girls. They've taught me some of their Bollywood Indian dance that's really, really fun. And I like to coordinate a lot of the dancers for World Refugee Day and get to know some of the Somali dancers, Sudanese dancers. And so, yeah, I love every bit of it. This year we'd like to host some movement workshops also, so that we can kind of get people moving a little bit too. So, yeah, it's something I love to do.
America with an Accent is taking a break to focus on the production of a new series on immigration coming out this June. old shows will re-air. In the past week, we have focused on refugees, challenges, and celebrations, and will continue on the topic today as well. We will show an old interview, but with an add-on. We all have a turning point in our lives, a moment that has set the tone of our journey. Mine happened 20 years ago. On March 31st, 1999, as a young reporter for the Albanian public television, I covered the arrival of Kosovar refugees in Qaf Morin, Kukës, northern Albania. The remainder of this episode brings to you the reporting of a young journalist witnessing a life-changing sad event, the journey of a young refugee couple to Omaha, and the great generosity of American nation. The reporter, the refugees, the American spirit.
Gjatë natës së mbrëmshme dhe në të kthilin në pikën kufitare të Qaf Morinës, sipas të dhënave të këshilltarit të Ministrit të Informacionit, zotit Eduard Marku, numri të ardhurve nga Kosova është rritur në mënyrë të shpejtë. Ata vinin nga zona e Prizrenit dhe Pashtrikut, duke udhëtuar më këmbë me traktor. Sot paradite në këtë pikë kanë bërritur të ardhurit e parë nga zona e Prishtinas. Ata dëshmojnë se policia serbe i ka detyruar të lënë shtëpitë brenda 30 minutave ose një ore. Nuk kanë munguar rastet kur dhe janë keq trajtuar. Në kufi, nga ana serbe u janë marrë të gjithë dokumentat. Përgjatë vijës kufitare, sot është njoftuar se në piramidat D16 dhe D17, pala serbe ka bërë punime gjenjere, por provokacione nga ana e tyre nuk ka pasur. Për gjendjen shëndetësore të të ardhurve, mund të thuhet se janë të stresuar, ndërsa 5 prej tyre që nga 28 marsi kanë vdekur. 4 nga një vdekje natyrale dhe një i ri nga plagët me armë zjarri marrë matan kufirit. Në qytetin e Kukësit, shtabi i situatës së emergjencës ka thirrur në takim përfaqësues të UNHCR-s, OJQ-ve, OSBE-s dhe Këshillit e Europës. Situata në qytet ka bërë që shtabi i përgjithshëm t'i kërkojë UNHCR-s përgjegjësinë e bashkërendimit të detyrave, si dhe ngritjen e një kampingu në qytetin e Kukësit. Theksojnë se Kukësi do të jetë një pikë tranziti nga ku më pas të ardhurit nga Kosova do të shpërndahen në të gjithë qytetet e Shqipërisë. Nga Kukësi, Enkela Vebiu.
How did you get involved in this program to bring war refugees over?
I listened very carefully to my wife, whatever she wants to do. She had talked to me about it, but it was her idea.
We had been watching on the news, we were glued to the news, about the refugees, about the war, and then they made the announcement that the United States was going to take 20,000 refugees. And I said to my husband, which will tell you what kind of a man he is, me knowing that I could ask him this, I said, well, why don't we sponsor a family? And he said, okay. And so then we got in touch with Senator Hagel's office, and then they got us in touch with the Refugee Center, or the association.
Oh, this is how it happened. It was through the senator's office. Chuck Hagel?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Did you know anything about the procedures?
No. We knew nothing.
She was bored. We had 3 little kids, a middle-aged kid, 2 dogs, and we needed more help.
We had no idea what was involved, but we wanted to do something.
So it was just news. You were inspired by news, and that was your main reason.
Yes.
Do you remember any particular report that has... Can you please share that detail with us?
Well, it was the report... I apologize. Look for Kleenex.
I left the interview to grab a few tissues.
And can you please repeat this? Oh, I'm sorry. We had seen on the news that one day they were still. It was in the neutral zone. There were thousands of them, if I recall.
Yes.
And and they were not to safety yet. But then. Well, and then the next day, they were gone.
The report was that...
Yeah, they were gone, and initially they had the reports were, they're gone, and they did not know where they had gone. So
and that was right there, that moment. It was your desire to invite someone and folks in your family
To do something.
to do something. How did it happen? How did that happen? Can you please tell us a little bit? What was it? A phone call? I understand that there was the office of the senator involved. But what did you guys do?
Literally, it was
Teresa
easy.
did most of the legwork. She put herself on, got a hold of, was it the consulate or?
No, Chuck Hagel's office.
Chuck
And then
Hagel's
they got
office
us-
gave us the name of a gal that was assisting in relocations. And Teresa contacted her and said we would.
Oh, it was Lydia.
Lydia.
Yeah.
And we were interested in hosting a family. And of course, it was our understanding that a family was, there was no definition of what a family was going to be. We were thinking it was two people, a man and wife or whatever. And so we tell the partner about and it kind of, we just put it on the back burner. They said, well, we'll get back to your name's on a list. We didn't really expect it to happen. I didn't expect it to happen.
How long did it take from that phone call till you received the next phone call to let you know that they're coming?
Well, look, it was a number of weeks, if not.
6 weeks.
Yeah, it was quite a long time.
Well, we had forgotten about it.
No.
I had, not Teresa. I had forgotten. Well, this ain't gonna. This ain't gonna work out.
And Liddy had been here and visited the house to make sure that there was adequate room, and we had to have. There was a stipulation. We had to have. We couldn't do it as private citizens. We had to have. Like our church had to be on board with it, a larger group. And so I talked to Father Bob and said, I just need sort of this in, I don't expect you to do anything.
So Lydia called and said she wasn't sure that the two young couples were coming. And for the life of me, I don't recall why she thought that, but my understanding was that you weren't necessarily coming, but if you did, you'd be coming in on a TWA, so. Can you please tell us what it is? Oh, Trans World Airlines, that's the airline, but which is kind of odd now that I say that, because that would have, why would she have told me that if you weren't, anyway, so my understanding was they weren't going to come, probably. So, this was a Wednesday, I think. On Friday at 10 o'clock, my cell phone rang, and it was Lydia, and Lydia said, they will be here tonight at like 7:15. And actually, Joe was at summer school. I was in the hallway at his little school. I pulled him out of class. I'm like, we're going home. We raced home, got on the phone. Dick called some friends. We had to move all the kids into one bedroom and then get, because we just had twin beds upstairs, get double beds for each couple so they had their own room. And the kid down the street came up and mowed the yard, and we had people that went and got groceries. And so within 7 hours, we were ready to go. And then we went to the airport.
While the Guinans in Omaha were getting ready to meet the guests, the couples were crossing the ocean via Greece, New York, St. Louis, with final destination Omaha.
Oh, don't even ask. Yeah, we're in the I was 21 and a half. She was 18. But we flew to New York, and then, of course, all the way to New York. You got all the Albanian refugees who you're not afraid. You're not scared because there's so many of them. And then from there, they split in different groups. So all of a sudden, the big group just shrank. And then from there, from New York, we flew to St. Louis. We flew to St. Louis, and it was still a larger group. And then in St. Louis, actually, no, yeah, we did. But when we were flying to St. Louis, it was me and her. She could barely get her head up. And it was this lady. She was sitting next to me, so we started having conversation. We were speaking in English, and she asked me. She said, that was one of the kind of the experience that she said, how did you learn English? And I said, I learned from movies and music with the Eagle.
Yeah, the Eagle. Yeah.
What is the Eagle?
So I'll tell you the story in a little bit. But she said, so we started, and when we left there, she said, I'll make sure that you find somebody will take care of you in St. Louis. And she gave me $20. She pulled $20 and she said, this is for you and your wife when she feels bad, go and watch a movie. And she sit with us until one of those guys who worked for the immigration picked us up to take us to our own airline, our own gate, I guess. And then, but when we split there, it was just us. It was just me, her, and the other couple. And that's when you really feel like, okay,
yeah, can you
where are we
describe
going
it?
now? This is the end of the world. It's
Did
too
you know?
far. We don't know anymore what's happening.
Did you know? Did you know what was your final destination? Did you know that you were?
We didn't know anything about Omaha. Teresa, her name, Teresa Guinan. To be honest, at that time on a book, because you're tired, you're everything. I didn't even think that's a person. I think maybe that's the name of like an organization. Like I didn't even know that's her name. So because we, like you don't have that much information when you come from there. They come in, they tell you go in this date, blah blah blah. And then here's your paperwork, and you take all this bag. I have the bag still at home. You take the bag with a whole bunch of papers. Which one are you gonna look? It's like you don't really expect. And I did speak some English. For somebody else, would have been just blank. So we got on the plane, and the whole time we're traveling, on my head is like, okay, now when we land, because they said this is your final destination. The guy that was helping us out said that's where you're going. That's your final stop. My whole mindset was like, okay, we're gonna get out and we're gonna sleep somewhere. So my train of thought was like, I gotta find a garbage can somewhere with the boxes of paper, so I can sleep somewhere, make a spot to sleep. So that was my whole, and she couldn't even get her head up. So I'm just going through this. My mind is running the whole time, and because the other couple was further back, and we're sitting there, and of course, first time traveling with the airplane, everything is first time. So there's no phones, no computers back at that time. So when we got off the plane here in Omaha, we come out, and here's Mr. Dick, here's Mr. Teresa, here's the kids with flowers, and there's reporters, and we're all like, what's going on? Like we have no idea.
Miss Teresa, how did they know about the news reporters and the local television station? Lydia put that.
Told them.
Okay.
Because it was just us and our kids that went.
I understand that you had only 7 hours to think about them, but did you ever wonder how do they look? Or ever thought that, what am I doing? What are we doing? Inviting.
I was practicing my sign language. How are we going to talk? I'm thinking that it could be maybe somebody speaks English.
Yeah.
It just never really.
You never thought of any problems.
Yeah.
It was just like,
we're just going to do it. It's just going to happen.
So they appeared. What was your feeling?
Oh, just so happy for them. And poor Fortes was so tired and sick. And I kind of thought the reporters were intrusive and pushy. Yeah. And I know they wanted to get the story, but they were just exhausted. So we just kind of swooped them out, got them in the car, and came home, and that was it.
Because you're tired, it doesn't compute, And he's always so joyful and so funny and so, And I remember, and I tell everybody the story when he put his arm around and he said, come on, we got to go. Because the reporters were asking us questions. And I remember, I just told him, I told him over there, today when he put his arm, he's like, come on, let's go. And she picked up Fortesa and we put in, and Buster and Valbona, all four of us, we just went and it's like, and you come home. You come home, you come in and you're like, all of this. I mean, anybody can say, but I know, I didn't think of it not 1 second. Not 1 second would I have thought it would come to a house, to our own bedroom that they have made ready. And then you wake up next morning, because that day you wake up next morning and it's like, You just can't even describe it, really. It's just something for us that young.
What a handsome couple they were.
I wanted you to describe to me your first impression when you saw, besides being exhausted, what was it to have 4 foreigners in your house?
Well, they were so young. I mean, it's like the age of some of our kids, practically.
Yes, Megan?
Yeah.
I think the same age as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, it was like having just 4 more kids, though.
it wasn't
really.
It wasn't a concern. And Teresa, you weren't working. You were staying at home
At the time.
Teresa was a stay-at-home mom, and I mean, she just couldn't find enough to do. So we had 3 little ones, and of course they were all excited.
I remember.
So it was they assimilated like it was
Yes.
a slow transition.
Exactly, you did.
Then it became little details.
How do you bond the way that you have bonded without even knowing each other from two different parts of the
We laughed
world?
a lot. Tell the story about the eagle.
Yeah. They ask questions, we ask questions, like a lot of questions. We just keep going, like always, because they're interested, we're interested both. But we were talking one day, and it was they were asking about our flag. So I was trying to tell them our flag is an eagle, and I could not
I knew
remember.
it was a dragon.
Yeah, and I could not remember the eagle. I spoke English, but I wasn't. So I could not remember the eagle, and I was trying to. And so I said, "Welcome to the hotel." And it's like eagle. I said, "Yeah, it's an eagle."
No,
So
I didn't get it. And he got it.
Well, it was something like it, but I sing the song because I wanted to relate something, and then it's like eagles. It's like, yeah, that's what it is. It's an eagle.
Yeah.
Every day or something like that. Like, from that time, Shumir, he always remembered. So of course it's harder for them, especially for me because I did speak English, but that's.
And Fortes would cook.
Yep, it's on my wall.
Eggs and peppers.
Yeah,
really good.
Yes. So it was, I think them being so young.
It was just a natural fit.
Yeah, it was a perfect fit.
And
If you look back, this year's going to be 20 years this summer. What have you guys gained from this experience?
them and their family.
They're part of the crew. And this is why we have Thanksgiving. This is why they're here.
And
it was a good deal for us. Probably a better deal for us than it was for them. I mean, actually.
Oh, no.
We both think we got a pretty good deal.
This was America with an Accent for this week. Please continue to watch us here on KPAO or online at www.newamericansmedia.com. We will be back with new shows on May 13th. I am Enkela Vebio.